Alright people, so big news here. We have Karl Rove coming out. You know, for people who don't know who Karl Rove is, he's a big Republican guy. Was, I think, Deputy Chief of Staff under Bush. You know, was a prominent person in the Bush administration, that is from the second Bush. And now he goes, you know, on Fox News a lot, and he's kind of, you know, a Republican guy and shit. You know, so he came out with a shocking fucking statement, though. He says, this was all about the South Carolina gun thing. Now, I mean, maybe there's some magic law that will keep us from having more of these. I mean, basically, the only way to guarantee that we will dramatically reduce acts of violence involving guns is to basically remove guns from society. And until somebody gets enough oomph to repeal the Second Amendment, that's not going to happen. And people are saying, oh, you know, he's not calling for, you know, a fucking removal of the Second Amendment. Yes, he fucking is. You know, because everybody wants less gun violence unless you're a fucking wacko out there. So in a way, he is, you know, saying, oh, we want a fucking, you know, the removal of the Second Amendment, and that's going to lead to less gun murder. No. Well, maybe. You know, that is possible that if you remove guns from society, there might be less gun, but no doubt about it. Violent crimes, you know, things like stabbings will go up. You know, it's like if Dylan Roof didn't have a gun, he could just run people over with a car. You know, so it's totally a baseless statement to say that. It's like criminals are still going to do bad things even though there's laws like gun control to, you know, to so-called prevent them from doing so. If you really want to stop guns, you know, gun murders, gun violence, the best way to do that is to arm people. Where do a lot of these mass shootings take place? They take place in schools. They take place in, you know, as churches where you're probably not going to find a gun because a lot of peaceful people are there, you know. So, again, the way to, you know, prevent these shootings are to arm people so that the good people can take out the bad people. All right, is that so hard to even? That's like basic. That's like a basic fucking, you know, common sense thing right there. You know, and yes, it is true that a lot of guns, you know, a lot of the shootings take place between gangs and shit like that. You know, so I mean, you're pretty good. You know, gun violence is not a great threat to somebody like myself. Chances are I'm not going to get killed by a gun, and there's a very low chance of that. Now, if you're in a gang, if you're a gangbanger, you know, that's when it becomes a real threat. You know, that's where a lot of the gun violence takes place. It's not like, you know, a law-abiding citizen in a, you know, it's not like your average citizen is going to take their gun and shoot somebody. All right? So, but the real way, and there's also, and why are people like that though? Why are there a bunch of people in gangs and gangbangers? You know, why is that happening? It's happening because of our culture and our society. You know, you got all these TV shows, all these movies, all these rappers promoting things like drugs and violence and sex and whatever. You know, all these horrible things. You know, like, oh, you know, and just promoting the gang culture, kind of, and it's a sick, you know, and like the drugs, it's like drugs and alcohol. It's almost like it's become a cool thing to do drugs and alcohol. That's not cool. I can guarantee you that. It's definitely not a cool thing to get high and drunk every night. That's not cool. All right, that's stupid as fuck. All right, so that's a great way. That's a great way to start right there. Let's start promoting a good culture with good values and good morals, so people don't fall, you know, into the trap of these gangs and think they're all cool and shit. That's where we really want to start there. And a lot of and it's just a fact. Black on black crime is the top. You know, it's like the most. You know, the biggest amount of crime statistically is black on black. All right. But let's go through that. You know, why is that? Why is that? I think a big reason for that is because a lot of liberal politicians are out there telling people, you know, black people, that they deserve something. They're trying to bring down the black people by putting them on welfare, making them dependent, and just taking, and just really targeting, you know, blacks. And that's just a fact. I'm not, you know, people might call, oh, you're racist. No, I'm not being racist. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter about it. There's a lot of black people that are fucked up, that are in gangs, that are in prison, that are, and again, I think a lot of that's due to the society and our politicians. And all these liberals promoting, all this welfare and government dependence and shit like that. The best way to create a great society, not a great society because that's what, I don't mean great society in the way that LBJ said, but to create a good society is to promote the free market. When government gets involved in things, it fucks it up. All right, and if you have a free market, will there be poor people? Yes, there will be. There's 320 million Americans. There's no way everybody's gonna have, that everybody's gonna be well off. People are gonna, be poor and shit like that. But then, we got to promote people helping out other people through the society, through churches, charities, etc. So that's kind of my solution to the gun violence right there. Because I think a lot of the reasons why there's a bunch of gun violence is because of our culture. If you look at Switzerland, Switzerland is a very, probably us, America, and Switzerland are the top two most pro, that have the loosest gun control countries in the world. And if you look at the gun murders of Switzerland, they are very fucking low. It's like 30 or 40 people killed by guns every year. Violent crime is way down. It's very low. And that proves right there that it's about the society, not about the gun. If I wanted to, I could probably kill a bunch of people with a knife. Not saying I want to, but I could. Alright? So, I mean, if you really want to kill somebody in a free society, you are going to. Alright? If I want to, get a gun, get a knife, take it and go stab somebody in the head, I could. Alright? That's just the fact about it. So the only reason, again, the only way really to, in theory, this is just a theory, to stop all violence and to protect yourself from all violence, it's to lock yourself in a jail cell for the rest of your life. And nobody wants to live like that. We have to have a free society. And will bad things happen in a free society? Yes. That's why we have laws. That's why we have the Second Amendment, though, to protect ourselves against that. And if a criminal knows, this is just in theory, if a criminal knows that every fucking citizen in America is armed, are they going to attack that person? Chances are, yes, you will still have some criminal activity, but it will go down. So we have to promote more gun ownership, more people owning guns. We have to promote more of the Second Amendment. We have to put guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens inside, churches, inside schools. Because if somebody had a gun, or multiple people had a gun inside that church, Dylan Roof would not have killed 9 people. Alright? And if guns would have been banned, well, he could have gotten one illegally because we all know, criminals get guns illegally all the time. Or he could have just taken his car and while church let out, go and ran over a bunch of people. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. I could take a car and when they're letting out people of a sports game, go and just ram over a bunch of fucking people and kill them all going 100 miles an hour. There's so many fucking ways that somebody can inflict harm on people, besides a gun. All right. And as I said, if you think that banning guns is gonna do something, it's not, because there's many more ways to kill people other than with a gun. All right. The Second Amendment's not the problem. The gun is not the problem. The gun is not the one shooting. It is the person who is the problem, and the person is the thing we have to fix. And again, we should fix that through actually, promoting good things in society, promoting good morals and shit like that, and not promoting the gang society of, drugs. And for a country to function, to function correctly, the people have to participate as well. If you have a bunch of slobs, citizens running around the country's not going to do well. All right, it's going to fall to tyranny, and that's exactly what's happening to America. So to be a good running country, we have to have an awake public, a public that cares about people and themselves. And that's not what we have. We have some people that do, but not enough. And again, there's always going to be bad people in society. We're never going to have a utopia, but the best way to guard against criminal violence is to arm ourselves and to protect ourselves, and not, create gun control, because gun control will always end in tyranny like it did in Nazi Germany or communist Russia, communist China. So there you go, people. Karl Rove comes out blaming the Second Amendment, and this guy is supposed to be the Republican, the defender of the Second Amendment. Well, it looks like they're both the same, aren't they? It looks like Republicans and Democrats are both the same. So there you go, people. Fuck you, Karl Rove. Second Amendment is where it's at. So there you go, people.